The man was shocked to find that his wife, who had been dead for a week, had actually come back to life. But after the woman woke up, not only had she lost her memory, she had also become especially indifferent. This made the man start to suspect that his wife had been replaced. To prove that the woman was not his wife, the man deliberately set up a fingerprint lock at the door of their house. If his wife couldn't open the door, then she was definitely a fake. Just as the woman was about to unlock the door, the villa alarm suddenly went off. Under the woman's confused gaze, the maid explained that she had accidentally activated the security system. If the woman failed to unlock it, she would be electrocuted on the spot. Hearing this, the man pretended to scold the maid, saying that the woman was returning to her own home, so how could she not be able to open the door? And the reason the man was so sure the woman was an imposter was because his real wife had already been killed by his own hands. It turned out that just a week ago, in order to seize his wife's fortune, the man had conspired with his lover to drug his wife and throw her into the bathtub and staged the false scene of the woman slitting her wrists in suicide. Not until his wife was at death's door did the man hurriedly send her to the hospital. Later, when facing reporters who had rushed over, the man pretended to be grief-stricken, as if he wished he could die in her place. But the reporters didn't buy it and directly questioned the man that once the woman was confirmed dead, would all her assets be inherited by him. Hearing this, the man excitedly declared that he would never let such a thing happen, and that his wife would definitely live well. However, when this scene was witnessed by the wife's twin sister Lily, she did not feel touched at all, but instead believed that this brother-in-law definitely had a problem. Although she had not seen her sister for many years, they had always kept in touch. Her sister would absolutely never commit suicide. In order to investigate the truth behind her sister's attempted murder, Lily and her friend William secretly went to her sister's room. Thanks to William's rescue efforts, Lily's sister's life was saved, but she fell into a deep coma. Seeing that the truth could not be learned from her sister, Lily immediately made a wound on her own wrist identical to her sister's, then changed into the patient's clothes. She let William take her sister away first, while she lay on the hospital bed in her sister's place. Soon, the man who heard the news of his wife's death brought reporters to the ward to put on a show. The man cried out desperately that he couldn't go on living while struggling to suppress the corners of his mouth that wanted to curl up. The reporters, unaware, were deeply moved by this. The man thought his performance was flawless, and tomorrow's newspapers would surely hail him as the most devoted husband, making his takeover of the woman's fortune even smoother. Sure enough, as soon as the reporters left, the man changed his expression and immediately called in his lover, performing explicit scenes right in front of the woman. Watching everything in front of her, Lily gritted her teeth in hatred and couldn't help but clench her fists. Unexpectedly, this scene was discovered by the lover. Hearing this, the man panicked at first, but then impatiently said that the doctors had already confirmed the woman was beyond saving. It was impossible for her to still be alive. But the lover insisted on what she had seen. So the man reached out to test, and even though the woman held her breath in time, making the man drop his suspicion, yet under the lover's persistence, he tightly strangled the woman's neck. Just as the woman was about to suffocate, the man's phone suddenly rang. It turned out the woman's relatives and the company's board members had already gathered. In order to quickly seize control of the woman's company, the man gathered everyone in the hospital ward to stage the final and most important act. But what he didn't know was that it was this very decision that would cost him a terrible price. When everyone had gathered in the ward, the first thing wasn't to mourn the woman, but to discuss quickly selecting a successor, so that when announcing the woman's death, the company could be stabilized immediately. Hearing this, the man's subordinate immediately stated that the only heir now was the man, as the chairman's husband. As soon as these words fell, a shareholder whispered, "This is the real-life version of devouring the widow's estate." Before the man could get angry, the woman's assistant rushed over, just about to lift the sheet to confirm the woman's condition, but was directly stopped by the man. He even publicly demanded that his wife's Smith Group be renamed Johnson Group. Although the shareholders were very shocked and thought the man was shameless, they had no better solution now. After all, the man was indeed the woman's woman's primary heir. So when the assistant was furious, they could only try their best to hold him back from courting death. Just as the man asked if anyone else opposed, Lily suddenly reached out and grabbed him. Then, under the shocked gazes of everyone, Lily slowly sat up from the hospital bed. As the man staggered back in fright, Lily suddenly opened her mouth and said, "Darling, are you unhappy to see me?" But the man suddenly snapped back to his senses, grabbed Lily, and questioned who she really was. His wife had never liked the term darling. She had always affectionately called him by his nickname. Hearing this, the woman looked disappointed and said that she had suddenly lost all her memory. And just after hearing the man's words, she realized he was her husband, and that was why she had called him darling. If he didn't believe her, he could check the surveillance cameras. But in order not to expose himself and his lover, the man didn't dare check the surveillance at all. The assistant nearby also suspected the woman's identity, but thinking that Lily looked so much like the woman, there must be a connection between them. Therefore, the assistant did not hesitate to stand up and vouch for Lily. Seeing this, the board members also tried to persuade the man. Since the assistant had confirmed her identity, then it couldn't be wrong. Seeing his plan about to fail, the man suddenly questioned the woman, "Do you still remember why you slit your wrists to commit suicide?"